Hey, welcome. Welcome to our future home. I'm Julie Tam, managing broker of LYN Realty in Houston, and you are watching Smarter Real Estate weekly on Wednesdays, and this is my series, Building My Dream Home. It's been a bit since I brought you out here to the site, and so much has happened since then. I can't wait to show you. I've been doing videos about some of the selections we've been making, and I've got more of those coming up, but today we are at the construction site. And so I want to show you what's been happening. As you can see, we're going up. Okay, the last time we came here, we were drilling deep into the ground to build that pier and beam foundation that I'm going to give you a literal peek through the cinder blocks to see in just a minute. But as you can see, there's also concrete slab up here. I'll also walk you over to the other side of the house where you'll see more concrete slab, but there's not concrete slab across the entire lot because of those pier and beam foundation elements that are needed because we're in a floodplain in the city of Houston. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of an orientation as to what this is. Can you guess where I'm standing? If you thought it was the front door, you're not too far off, but because we're in a floodplain, the front door cannot be here on ground level. So I am about 5 feet tall, and the front door is actually going to be over 8 feet tall above my head. How are we going to get up there? Well, the street is behind the camera. There's going to be a walkway from the street and sidewalk going straight up here to the front. And there's going to be a staircase soaring way above my head up to the double front doors. Okay. And essentially, what you're going to see is a nice, graceful, curved staircase going out with an iron railing along the sides. We didn't want any material along the side in terms of under the iron railing because we didn't like the look of that where people would put brick or whatever. So we just kind of want just a sleek finish of the stucco that's going to be on the rest of the house along the sides there where the stair railing is going to be. And then the steps will most likely be some sort of outdoor tile is kind of what we're thinking. I say outdoor because it can't be something slippery. Let me bend down and grab this phone so I can show you what we're looking at here. For those of you who've been watching, you've seen our home, the front elevation here. And essentially, this is the front door area I'm talking about. So you can see the stairs going up, kind of that graceful curve, not straight in terms of the iron railing and not an extreme curve that's more traditional. So something slightly graceful. Our home, the style overall is going to be a transitional modern home. And all these white areas that say stucco, which is probably too tiny to read, is going to be a shade of white. And then you see the double front doors, which will not look like that. That's just a rough sketch just as a placeholder. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see this cast stone pediment going around here, okay? Let me show you what that looks like here live, all right? These two columns on the right and left side of me are basically going to be part of the cast stone. Now, this is going to be overlaid with cast stone, so it's not going to look like cinder blocks. Let me put this down for a second. But yes, it's going to go way over and above the front door, and it's just going to be a really nice grand arch framing the front door. And the color of the cast stone, let me show you, is going to be a shade of white. So it's going to look like this, and you can see how there's just these tiny little granules of color in there, but really they're going to be finishing it in a way where it's going to be a smoother finish. So this right now, it looks like it's more kind of, I guess, grainy and rough. And this will be very similar to the white color of our stucco. It's not going to be a bright white. It's more like a little bit of an off-white, and it'll just look really nice. With the cast stone, you don't want to have a huge contrast in color for a modern home like this. And so this is going to work out really nicely for our home. I'm going to set this down, and I'll take you around to another part of the home while I queue up the next thing that I want to show you. And while I'm walking, I do want to point out, I'm not wearing the proper footwear for a construction site, so please don't copy me. I wasn't actually planning on shooting a video today out here, so I wasn't prepared. So you definitely want to do closed toes, not open, because you don't realize sometimes as you're walking, you think, oh, I'm okay, but then you suddenly step on like a piece of metal or rebar, and then it like comes bouncing back at you and hits your foot, and then that hurts, and that's no good. So definitely want to wear a closed toe. Even like a hard toe is better, and a pair of shoes that you're okay with ruining in case you step in some wet cement, because you never know what's going on, and sometimes it's really hard to tell. Okay, we can take a peek into either of these two sets of cinder blocks. These things here are just placeholders. They're going to be replaced, and I'll show you what they're going to be replaced with. But first, peek inside. That is going to be underneath our home. 8 feet of just essentially nothing, crawl space beneath the house, and then the first floor will be right above that. So the first floor is really elevated to the level of a second floor. of a normal home, because you're talking about over 8 feet underneath it. And then we'll have a 2-story house in total. Also want to mention there's wasps flying around, so if you hear me scream, that most likely is why. It's also sweltering hot. Whew. All right, so what's going to be here? It's going to be an air vent made of cast stone, the same material that's going to be on the surround that I was just showing you. And we're going to have basically a big rectangle with a horizontal line through the middle. There's other designs too, but this was going to be the most likely to pass inspection according to the builder. In fact, he designed this particular air vent, and you've got to have enough airflow and space. So if you start getting crazy with X's or other, lines and curves and patterns, then you start to block and not have enough airflow. And then that means you actually have to have more air vents. And I think that looks bad, actually. I don't think it looks so good to have a ton of air vents around your home. It doesn't provide a sleek look. It's very busy. Then your eyes get drawn to that. And so having this very simple, sleek, streamlined look of just these lines is going to look best for a modern style home. Okay, so if you turn around and look at where I'm standing, this is the future driveway. Okay, and we're having a T-shaped driveway, which you do see a bit if you're driving through areas like River Oaks, for example. People have more cars, they want to park outside, and so you've got already a big, long, double wide driveway all the way out to the street. But then we're going to have an offshoot, like a little T, that's going to go across there, the front of the house, that will park just one car. It'd be just enough space for that. All right, let's come up here. So as the driveway is going to be sloping up a little bit, there's actually going to be one fewer step for the stairs that go up to the house from the garage versus the stairs that are going up to the front door. I'm standing right now in the porte-cochere, all right? This is going to be a covered portion of several feet here, deep. So that way, if you park up, here, and you've got other cars parked in the garage for some reason and you want to unload groceries, you can actually get out of your car. Well, it doesn't have to be groceries. You can just be unloading yourself, but you can get inside without getting wet if it's raining outside, for example. You can see the air vents along here of the garage, along the sides. There's obviously none on this side because that's just going through to the middle of the house, where there's going to be crawl space. But on that side, you've got those air vents there, and the garage is designed to flood. So we're going to have a lift. That's our plan, to lift one car up, and then we're going to have one of those car bags where you can zip up the car inside to protect it from, in case of a flood, because that could happen. And then you have to tie that bag to a post or something to your house so that the car doesn't, float away in floodwaters. All right, as we move back toward the back of the garage, this is a step up, platform here for more storage, and there's going to be a staircase going up like this to a door that leads to our mudroom, which goes into our home, obviously. Okay, so let me show you here. I mentioned that our house exterior is going to be kind of like a black and white scheme, which is very popular. And funny enough, the current house that we live in is also that color. So it's been popular and timeless for, 10 years at least. But this one is not going to be that bright white stucco. Our current house is a brighter white. This is going to be a little bit more of an off-white. And then we're planning to do the composition shingles of something like this. So kind of like a charcoal, almost black, right? Not as dark as my hair. Actually, my hair even has a little bit of a tint of brown to it. But this is roughly the type of color we're looking at. And that's going to be over a majority of the house, pretty much the whole roof. However, right above where we're standing now, but back that way, over the front of the garage, we're going to have a small metal roof. And the metal roof is going to be somewhat similar to this. We're going to do either a dark gray, charcoal kind of color to coordinate with this. It doesn't have to be exactly the same and really matchy-matchy. That's not the goal. It just needs to look similar and be around the similar color scheme. The frames of the windows are going to be black. And so that will really go nicely too with that kind of black, white, gray tone scheme. And I think I've pretty much covered all the exterior. I don't think I'm missing anything. Before we wrap up, let me go ahead and mention to you what's coming up next. Framing. You're going to start seeing the wood frame going up above these cinder blocks to frame up the house. Then, of course, they're going to have to close the house in. So they're going to have to put the multi-layer and then ultimately the stucco on the outside and the roof. And once that's all enclosed, the inside is now protected for installing interior items. So we're going to have obviously all the electrical wiring and the plumbing that's going to go behind the frame. And I mentioned to you that once all that's installed, the best thing to do is get an inspection at that point. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to swing around so we have a different view here of the streetscape. And we are going to then, of course, need insulation and everything like that behind the wall. So that's going to go up in the framing stage as well. And then the sheetrock's going to go on. And then after that, everything inside can then be installed because now the house is completely enclosed and protected from the elements of the weather. Okay, so I'm hoping that you enjoyed that and got a lot of good information out of it and just kind of seeing the process of how a home is built. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me either by sending me a message or commenting down below. And I hope you will continue to watch. Go ahead and like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode on YouTube or Facebook. And I also post these on LinkedIn. The majority of my audience is on Facebook, but the video is identical everywhere. So you can watch wherever is convenient for you. And I hope you'll continue to join me as I take you along on my real estate adventures and arm you with practical strategies to be a smarter buyer, seller, tenant, or landlord. I've got more videos coming up soon as we watch the progress of construction, and also more selections are to come. Have a great week. Bye.